Shall we try some stretching? Up and down. And then both together, pulling the head back as the hands go up. Then up and out. One hand over and turning the head. And then rubbing the hand. and then some palming. And the hands up. Rubbing the hands again for and rubbing the knees. Trying to get the spine into it. Spine and the belly. Just pulling in the belly, sort of pinpointing the Danshan. And now let's just try the butterfly. Arms behind the back. Feet, however. And then back into prayer. So all the fingers of each hand are sort of touching each other. And together the two hands make like an arrowhead that's pointing upwards, the middle finger being the point. So the hands have come together to be one thing. This arrow pointing upwards. And now without separating the fingers of each hand from each other, just open the hands up and bring them down. So my fingers are still together, my thumbs touching the hands. It's like I'm trying to make a scoop that I can drink from. Just feel the hands. So keep your eyes closed so you can feel better. Feel the hands. And then slowly make Tai Chi hands. So all the fingers separate slightly. And there's now space in the hands. The palm expands and hollows. And just feel what happens in the heart. The same thing sort of happens in the heart. The heart expands and opens and hollows, becomes compassionate. And then just feel each hand. So each hand has 27 bones in it. So just imagine each one of those bones becomes separate from the bones it's touching. There's a little bit of space in all the joints. And just see how that affects the heart. So the heart gradually gets more and more open. It's sort of blooming, blossoming. Then feel the breath. So as you breathe in, you're drawing air into the lungs. Imagine that permeating through the body and aerating those joints. And just register how much more open and alive the heart feels when you've got this airy, open lightness in the hands. And then just imagine how much more open the heart would become if we could do the same thing with the feet. All the toes could separate, all the bones could separate. So there's 26 bones in each foot, so it's the same as the hands, really. So hands and feet together constitute more than half the bones in the body. So they're both very much full of life. So when we have our feet enclosed in shoes, we're basically crushing everything together. and reducing not just the activity of the feet, but the activity of the heart. When the baby is born, it has 270 bones in its body, most of which are cartilage. And then an adult has about 206. So a lot of the bones in our body are fused, especially the sacrum. So just feel the sacrum. So originally that was 5 bones. So there's this sense of movement within the sacrum. The sternum, that's also a fused bone. Feel the cranium, the skull. They're not quite fused, but almost. But for all the plates, the facial bones, the tailbone. John always used to say that progress at Tai Chi is really a process of refinement. So breaking into as many parts as possible. And swapping over. And just lying and cycling. Then just take your left foot in your right hand and pull it into the buttock. Left hand onto the right knee and pull the knee over. Trying to keep both shoulders flat on the floor. You're just twisting the spine. Then swapping round. So holding one foot with the opposite hand and the other knee with the opposite hand and pulling. And again. You're meant to turn the head the opposite side from the knee. Feel the stretch through the spine. And other side. And then a few more cycling. Up, back into the squat. And then just up. And then a little bit wider, but not riding horse yet. And now just going down. Imagine there's like a big beach ball on the floor and you're going down and lifting it up. So you want to go down with the legs rather than the back. So the back leans forwards a bit, but it's mainly the legs squatting down. Roundness in the legs, with the knees going out as they bend rather than simply bending forwards, and the hips really opening. Want to be able to go down smoothly, like there's no break. So we have to allow the spine to tilt forwards. And then slight separations, sort of one going out and then the other. So a little bit of a twist and turn as you go down. And that will make it easier. The body doesn't like being double weighted. Good. Into riding horse proper. Bringing the mind to the Dantian sacrum. Feel the sacrum as those 5 vertebrae that are fused together. We want to separate them, at least in our mind. So the tailbone coming from the sacrum doesn't feel that much different from the sacrum itself. It's just one thing, really, or 8 things, or 9 things. Depends how many bones you have in your coccyx. It varies, apparently. Feel all the vertebrae. So it's like a stack of bricks with a little bit of air between each brick. So on a lot of people, especially old ones like us, the lumbar spine is almost fused. So we just want to get as much movement in there as we can without injuring ourselves. Feel the legs and feel the hip bones, the top of the legs basically coming in and gripping onto the sacrum. Feel the feet, all those bones, 26 bones in each foot and 26 joints, so a lot of air. Toes pushing down, but especially the big toe. And then feel the flow down, the pull of gravity as a flow through the body. And then feel your own strength, balancing that by pushing against it. What we don't want to do is just become strong and lock, because then we will lock out gravity. I want to keep gravity flowing through my body. So to allow that, I have to keep this strength growing, flowing up my body. So the down is balanced by an up. If the down suddenly got weaker, then my body would come upwards. It wouldn't just stay locked in position. So our relaxation is relaxing to the point of equilibrium. Relaxing to that place where these 2 forces are balanced and playing with each other. And when you get that equilibrium, then it's what John called becoming's bleeding edge. This sense that your passage into time, you're not just a lump that's being carried along by time, you're bleeding into it like an amoeba that breaks open and then pours into the space in front of it. And that's the sense of our passage through time. So when we're meditating, when we're still, we're bleeding. something is flowing out of us in order to come into the next moment. So everything's changing. So the image of the down, of the gravity, is water. It's like water trickling into earth. And then the image of the levity is the flame. It's the flame licking up into the air. So we have the four elements: the earth beneath us, our liquid meltingness, our fieriness licking up into the air, which is fueling it. Mind is so used to is setting, becoming solid. It doesn't like movement. It doesn't like liquid or gas. It prefers everything to be solid and predictable. So the mind is always tending to congeal. So we have to keep this outward. So this sense of always expanding, emanating, emerging. We're emerging into time, like the butterfly squeezing out of the chrysalis. And we're just beaming, radiating energy. Okay. And now let's just move from leg to leg, but with this sense of reaching out and scooping at the ground. So as one leg fills, the other leg empties, so expands even more. And that I get that expanding leg to form a scoop, which naturally captures the ground and pulls me into it. So the movement into the leg is a consequence of its emptying. It's exactly the same as if you were to reach out and hug someone, put your arm around them. Feel the expanding leg, that expansion coming from my sacrum, like something is flowing out of my sacrum down the expanding leg. once again. Feel the levity. So this flame, I want that to be a consequence of my sinking. So for that, I have to allow my sinking sacrum to drift forwards as it sinks down. And then that will allow this to release upwards. The heart is wanting to release upwards, but it's not used to it. And so now the centrifugal centripetal. What is thrown out lightens and lifts. What gathers in gets heavier and sinks. But slowly let the eyes hood or close, so you lose the room. Going back into riding horse and just connecting with gravity, operating upon the sacrum. And then the sky pulling at your sternum. Feels like the sternum and the sacrum are directly in vertical alignment. And now just turning the head. And then quicker. And then stopping. Allow yourself to settle. We want to feel that when we destabilize the head by doing something like that, the body can relax, especially around here. The sacrum can sort of free up. So let's try again and now go really quickly. So just shaking the head, like you can feel your jowls flying around. And then stop, breathe, and just make sure you don't fall over. Try one more of those. So just shaking. And then stop. And then just bringing the feet up a bit. Now let's just bounce. So the spring in the legs. Hold on to that feeling of almost drunkenness that shaking the head induces. And then alternating the arms. Good. And now, bow and arrow, and just back and forth. Straightening the leg, bending the leg. The toes involved. There's my arm and my fingers spread, so there's my leg and my toes. And when you bend the knee to pull, make sure you bend in the hip as well. So we don't want the bending of the knee to pull my hip forwards. So the knee doesn't simply bend, it goes out. And that movement out pulls the hip joint closer to the ground. This is where the butterfly comes in useful. And other foot forwards. Let's try a bit of the two circles. Yielding and attacking. So my reaching out gets behind the person, and then it pulls them through as the other hand gets behind. And then back to riding horse. So from being pulled down. Imagine a strip of elastic from your sacrum to the ground that's under slight pressure. That's the feeling of the pull of gravity. Big toes pushing down, little toes trying to escape outwards. And tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. You just feel the head and the face. So there's lots of bones in there as well. The skull is made of plates which move a little bit So the skull is actually breathing all the time. And also the bones of the face, so the cheekbones, this bone, the bridge of the nose, they're all a little bit mobile, which is why our faces are so expressive. It's not just the musculature of the face. The bones move, they're sort of rubbery, much more like cartilage. So the tip of the tongue and the roof of the mouth is just like a little anchor point that stabilizes the system, but not like clenching the teeth, which would just sort of hold everything stiff. So the teeth are never quite touching, they're sort of touching, but like they're trying to pull apart. And just this sense of your face expanding into a smile all the time. Imagine the Chinese face. So they always say that our faces, the eyes are so sunken in and their eyes really come out. So that's the sort of face we'd like to cultivate. And I'm just feeling the back brain. So the activity shifts from here backwards. And then a sense that it energetically it's extending right out the back. So the wings of the head. And now let's figure of 8 around the hips. So it's very similar to the 2 circles. And I want to feel it as an energetic reality. As I relax into this leg, I want it to be solely the leg that's responsible for keeping me up. So I want to relax all around here, the hip, from the sacrum, and also from the leg. So as I sink into the leg, there's a sense of this expanding, squeezing open, which allows a release from the sacroiliac. And my hand is just coaxing this energy around and bringing it back into the dantian. Progress at Tai Chi really is just a matter of getting the hips more and more relaxed, more and more open, and just getting closer to the ground. So your Tai Chi just gets more and more sunk. And then you just become much more aware of the space between your dantian and the ground. And then just a little bit of this one. And just trying to get this tipping of the hips. Now let's effectively do that very first step of the form. To get into the foot, I sort of go around it with the loop. So I'm going around the foot, and then I just bring this one up until it's on the knee. And then I step out, big toe down, and then I loop around this foot, and then I bring this foot in. So remember, I've still got most of the weight in the left foot. And then the other side. So I'm doing this exercise, and as I put the heel down, that's when I fill the foot completely. And stepping out and around this foot, and then around this foot, but without bringing the weight into it. Just using that to bring the toes in. When you're doing the form, you can just sort of get into a little bit of this swaying the hips. It really works because it just enables you to get closer to the ground effectively. So I'm going out here. This hip is sort of squeezing out. This foot comes up and the toes sort of wrap around the knee. That's the feeling. And then I reach out, and now I'm circling around this foot. And then finally, the right foot to bring it in. Try it again, and now put the next bit on, this bit. And this foot just, it becomes active by bringing my heel up, and then I can start the process of going around it. And so down, this foot comes up. Step, pulling into the foot, bringing these toes around. And just imagine you're dropping the hands. Imagine there's like a folded up curtain or something on the floor, and you dip down and you pick it up and you just pull it. So there's this sense of drawing something up from the ground, and then your elbows drop, and that brings the curtain in. Go down. Don't worry about sticking the bum out. We want to be able to just go down smoothly until basically we're touching the floor. Like the Chinese, you know, they get really low here, and then they start the form from here, yeah. We just want the feeling that there's no barrier between us and the ground, especially not this imperative to keep the spine vertical. And with the first class that I started teaching outside the centre was in Fulham, and there was a woman joined, and she'd done Tai Chi before. She was elderly, and she'd done traditional young style. So, you know, when she got into a push posture, she was like this. And I remember telling John, you know, expecting him to say, oh, how terrible, that's completely wrong. And he just said to me, how does it look? I said, it looked great. He says, yes, it may be correct. The consensus was, John, Dr. Chi and Dr. Chi's colleagues, was that Chen Manqing was not a Taoist, he was a Confucianist. So he was very much into being a member of society. You know, it's like the difference between psychoanalysis and psychotherapy. So they say psychoanalysis is all about revealing the unconscious, about revealing that wild, deep, dark side of ourselves, whereas psychotherapy is all about healing and rehabilitating the ego, rehabilitating it back into society. So the difference between Taoism and Confucianism is a bit like the difference between analysis and psychotherapy. So we're just trying to wake up a really natural side of ourselves that's, you know, we don't know what natural means anymore. We're so unnatural. There's nothing natural in our lives at all. And so don't allow this need to have the vertical back, this sort of aloof posture of Chen Manqing. Everyone hated him because he was just such a snob about it. I want to get down and dirty. I want to really get into the ground, and that requires you to lean forwards a little bit. And so here I can go all the way down. If I thought to myself, I've got to keep my spine vertical, then there'd be a point where I couldn't go down any further. So I'd then have to decide, okay, now I'll let myself stick my bum out, and then I could go down. So there'd be a break. I just want to go down fluidly. The bum goes out as far as it needs to get me down. One more. Round. Sit down, I pull something up, ooh, and then I just go all the way down. And then from here, this is where they do the form from this deep stance. Basically, for me, this is what we as experienced Tai Chi practitioners need to get into, which is doing the form a damn sight more sunk than we're used to. When I try it with people that are working with me here, the effect it has is it just wakes them up and makes them really spirited, and they love it. Feel the sacrum. Sacrum's pulling down elastically. There's a strip, a thick elastic band pulling at this end of my tail. This is pulling up. This is more like a silk thread. It's drawing upwards. And then just bring it up. Feel the feet, all the toes separate. Now, when we do Tai Chi, we just know that we're not meant to have our hands like this. We're not meant to have the fingers touching. So it's the same with the feet. So why people wear shoes, I've got no idea. So my big toes are anchoring down. My little toes are trying to run away. Remember that children's rhyme? This little piggy goes to market. Yeah, so these are the little piggies that go wee, 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 wee. And we just have to articulate that big toe. So we have to get some bending possibility in the first joint. So that it really can just hook down into the ground. And then when you bring your foot up to sort of get the knee, it sort of wraps around the knee like this, like it's sort of gripping the knee. And it just feels more sort of delicate and sensitive and intelligent. The more refined, the more pieces you split into. The better the energy.